Last night's episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live didn't just entertain, it exploded. What was supposed to be a lively interview turned into a live television inferno that caught fire and never cooled down. Elon Musk, the billionaire tech mogul known for his ambitious ventures and no-filter persona, was kicked off the set after a volatile, jaw-dropping face-off with Jimmy Kimmel that left the audience stunned, the studio rattled, and the internet completely unhinged. This wasn't just a clash. It was a meltdown in real time, with fallout already rewriting headlines across every platform imaginable. It all began like any other high-profile segment. Musk arrived on set with his usual flair, grinning confidently, dressed in sharp all-black, his energy buzzing with the kind of bravado only a billionaire can carry. He was there to promote his latest ventures, a bold leap in AI, whispers of a Mars timeline, and of course, a cryptic tease about the future of reality. But Kimmel had other plans. From the moment Musk took his seat, the mood was electric, and not in a good way. Kimmel opened with a smirk and a razor-edged line. "So, Elon, are you the future? Or just a really expensive punchline?" The words landed like a slap, quick and unexpected. A wave of laughter spread through the audience, but it wasn't the kind that lightens the mood. It was sharp, uncomfortable, and edged with tension. Musk chuckled, but his eyes narrowed slightly. "I'm the future, Jimmy. You're just the reruns." That line hit like lightning. The crowd gasped, a few cheered, some just exchanged glances. The tension rose fast, and it wasn't coming down anytime soon. Kimmel leaned forward, his voice dipped in sarcasm. "Well, if that's the future, should we all be bracing for recalls and rocket crashes?" A clip rolled on the screen behind them. A chaotic montage of Tesla glitches and a recent SpaceX explosion, smoke filling the launch pad, workers sprinting off screen. The crowd erupted, part shocked, part entertained, part unsure if this was still a bit or something real unraveling. Musk didn't flinch. "We innovate while you joke. You don't build anything, Jimmy. You recycle laughs from 15 years ago." The room responded with a wave of whoops, jeers, and laughter, the split in the audience growing clearer by the second. Producers backstage scrambled, unsure if they were watching television gold or a PR disaster in the making. The segment was off script. The control was gone. The stakes were climbing, fast. Sources say the buzz in the room became a low-level roar, whispers turning into gasps, cameras whipping out, audience members shifting in their seats. And yet, Musk held his cool, for a moment. Until Kimmel leaned in and added fuel to the fire. "You're not building the future, Elon. You're crashing it, one glitch at a time." That did it. The moment shifted. The air practically cracked. Musk, his jaw tightening, fired back. "You don't get it. I'm changing the game. You're just a spectator mocking from the sidelines." But Kimmel was already loading the next blow. "Changing it? You're breaking it, Elon. And now we're all stuck with the smoke." The audience gasped. Phones went up. Clips started spreading before the segment was even over. This wasn't a late-night comedy show anymore. It was a spectacle unraveling in real time. Musk leaned closer, voice sharp and rising. "You wouldn't last a day in my world, Jimmy. I lead, you follow." But Kimmel's grin only grew. "Lead us? You've got people wondering if they should walk to work or brace for a battery fire." The line tore through the room like a shot. Some laughed too loudly. Others covered their mouths. Musk blinked, his expression unreadable, but his body tensed. Then came the real fire. Kimmel hit play on another reel, a compilation of social media clips showing Musk's more controversial public moments, the flamethrower stunt, the awkward podcast puff, the off-the-cuff tweets that rattled stock prices. The audience didn't know whether to laugh or recoil. Musk's face turned to stone. Is this innovation? Kimmel asked. Or just one long outburst dressed in tech hype? Musk's reply was low, steady, and sharp as a blade. I build the world's future, and you're here throwing old clips and jokes. That's not comedy. It's desperation. The energy in the room spiked. Some in the audience began shouting, "Let him talk," clashing with, "Kimmel's right." The split wasn't just clear now, it was loud. Even the producer's hand signals behind the cameras became frantic. The cue cards were forgotten. The usual rhythm of the show was gone. This was unpredictable, chaotic, raw. Kimmel didn't blink. Desperation? Elon, look around. You brought chaos, not progress. You promised clean tech and space breakthroughs, and we got exploding batteries and floating timelines. His tone was colder now, no longer humorous. The jabs were turning into stabs. Musk responded with force. I'm building empires, while you hide behind a laugh track. The crowd screamed, some in support, others in disapproval. The studio was becoming a battleground, a flashpoint where ego, power, and fury collided in front of a live audience. And millions at home. Then Kimmel drove it deeper. Empires? Your rockets barely clear the atmosphere. You build hype, not results. You're not a genius. You're just very loud. The reaction was seismic. Musk clenched the desk, his knuckles white. His voice rose, loud. I'm the voice of the future. You don't like it because it's not scripted, because it's real. He was practically shouting now, his restraint slipping. Audience members were now yelling. One stood and shouted, "Let Elon speak!" Another yelled back, "He's done!" Phones flashed from every angle. One post from inside the studio read, "Musk's losing it, live." And it was already being reposted. Kimmel leaned back slightly as if enjoying the storm he'd whipped up. Real? This is a meltdown, Elon. And the world's watching. He gestured to the cameras, still rolling, still broadcasting every second of the drama. The comment landed hard. Musk's face twitched, a subtle sign but one that didn't go unnoticed. He fired back, voice trembling with fury. You don't deserve to talk to me. You're a clown pretending to be relevant. Your ratings only spike when I show up. That one drew cheers and laughter from some corners of the room, but the tension remained razor sharp. Kimmel's reply came fast. Then thank you, Elon. Because right now, you're not saving the world. You're saving my ratings. The crowd exploded, not with applause, but with noise. Every kind, cheers, boos, gasps, shouts. Some people couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Others were too busy filming it to react. Producers were now signaling stage managers in a panic. And Musk, red-faced, breathing heavily, stood up. Not in a walk-off, not yet. But to level his glare directly at Kimmel. His voice was louder now. I've built what no one thought was possible. I've reshaped industries, pushed us toward Mars. And all you can do is smirk. You wouldn't survive a single hour at the helm of what I run. But Kimmel wasn't stepping back. Elon, I wouldn't want to. Because the captain's supposed to steer, not crash into every iceberg screaming, innovation. Another gasp. Musk's jaw clenched tighter. The energy in the room was now beyond electric. It was volatile. Some audience members had already left their seats. Others were leaning forward, practically on edge. No one was laughing now. This wasn't a roast. This was a brawl, and it was far from over. Musk stood motionless for a moment, his chest rising and falling with each breath. Every second was thick with tension. The audience watched silently, as if the air had been sucked out of the room. Then, in a voice that wavered between fury and control, he said, You think this is funny, Jimmy? You think it's a joke to change the course of humanity? He gestured toward the cameras, the crew, the crowd. I'm not here to play games. I'm here to change the world. But Kimmel didn't flinch. Then maybe you should try doing that, instead of tweeting memes and picking fights with cave divers and regulators. The crowd gasped again. Another blow, even sharper than before. Musk's hands, now gripping the edge of the desk, trembled slightly. This wasn't banter anymore. This was real anger, and it was heating up by the second. I take risks, Jimmy. I don't hide behind punchlines and studio lights, Musk growled, his voice heavy. You sit here and mock people who are trying to make a difference. That's not comedy. That's cowardice. The crowd exploded again, split clean down the middle. Some stood and clapped wildly. Others booed just as loud. Kimmel raised a brow, clearly enjoying the chaos. Cowardice, Elon? You call throwing tantrums on social media leadership? You're the richest man on earth, and you act like a high schooler who just got grounded. The reaction was swift and intense. Musk's entire posture shifted, from fiery defiance to visible rage. He took a step toward Kimmel's desk, his voice rising. You don't get to lecture me. You've done nothing. You've built nothing. All you do is laugh at people like me who carry the weight of the future on our backs. But Kimmel cut in sharply. Weight of the future, Elon? You can't even carry a stable PR team. The line hit hard. People screamed. Some laughed uncontrollably. Others shook their heads in disbelief. The noise in the studio was now completely unfiltered chaos. Producers huddled near the stage, murmuring to security with increasing urgency. Then came the moment that would light up every screen across the world. Musk turned to the audience, shouting above the din, I'm not here to be your entertainment. I came here to talk about ideas, to push humanity forward. But clearly that's too much for a clown show like this. His voice cracked on the last word, raw and furious. A mic picked it up loud and clear. Kimmel didn't move. He simply smirked. No one forced you to come, Elon. But if you're going to show up, try not to fall apart before the second commercial break. That line detonated the audience. Some people stood on their chairs. Others pointed and screamed. Security began stepping onto the edge of the stage, sensing something more serious was coming. Musk, face flushed, took a long breath and slammed his hand down on the desk. The sound echoed through the room. The sound of Musk's palm slamming the desk echoed like a thunderclap. You know nothing about me, Musk said, each word sharp and deliberate. I'm the reason people still dream about Mars. I'm the reason your kids will grow up in an electric world instead of choking on fumes. His voice thundered through the studio. Kimmel responded with cool venom. You're also the reason people worry their cars will drive them into walls. The future you promise? Sometimes it looks more like a glitch than a gift. The two men stared each other down. Musk, seething. Kimmel, calm. The tension was so tight it could have snapped with a whisper. Then Musk leaned forward, eyes wide, voice booming. You're mocking something you'll never understand. Vision, progress, sacrifice. Kimmel didn't blink. You mean ego, hype, and meltdowns? That jab, so smooth, so ruthless, tipped the scale. Musk's face twisted, and for the first time his voice cracked with real, unfiltered rage. You think you're better than me? You've done nothing but talk. I'm building the future while you're stuck reading cue cards. You're not building the future, Kimmel shot back. You're burning it down, one chaotic announcement at a time. The room shook with the uproar that followed. People were yelling over each other, phones raised high. Some chanting, Musk, Musk. Others shouting back, sit down. One audience member even yelled, Is this even real? And then, the boiling point. Musk slammed both fists on the desk and shouted, I'm not crashing. You're nothing. His voice was strained. Every muscle in his body was tense. He trembled with fury. Cameras zoomed in. The crowd roared. Security stepped forward in unison. But Kimmel stayed cool, smiling with cutting precision. You're right, Elon. You're not crashing. You're already a wreck. Boom. That was it. The crowd erupted. Some stood on chairs. Others pointed and screamed. Security moved in faster now, speaking into radios, eyes locked on Musk. But he wasn't done yet. He pointed a shaking finger at Kimmel. You're a fraud. You mock greatness because you can't achieve it. I've changed the world. You can't even change your haircut. Kimmel grinned. Change the world? Elon. At this point, I think you've just changed your meds. The roar of the audience swallowed everything. Security reached Musk's side just as he yanked off his mic and tossed it to the floor. The metallic clatter echoed like a bell. I can't take this garbage, Musk barked. I'm walking out. And he did. Sort of. He stormed toward the wings, sweat streaking his temple, muttering curses under his breath. Nothing violating policy, but loud enough to make the crew flinch. One camera caught his exit from behind as the mic toss clip hit social media, looping in real time with captions like, Tesla tantrum and Elon snapped. Some fans cried out, We love you, Elon! Others booed. The studio felt like a rock concert that had just gone completely off the rails. One producer, trying to keep the show intact, whispered into a headset, Do we cut? Do we follow? The director answered with one word, Let it roll. And it did. The live feed held on Kimmel, who stood, arms folded, watching Musk vanish behind the curtain. He let the silence breathe, then finally spoke. Well, he said, voice dripping with mock sympathy, that was inspiring. The audience laughed, hard, loud, raw, cathartic. Some people tossed popcorn. One person threw a cup. Another tried to start a chant. The place was wild, unfiltered, uncontained. A perfect storm of power, pride, and total collapse. But the chaos wasn't over. Not even close. What happened next took the night from viral to legendary. As Elon Musk disappeared into the shadows of the set, the storm he left behind didn't settle. It escalated. Studio crews scrambled to reassemble the chaos. Kimmel, standing center stage like a victorious gladiator, took a slow breath and turned to the audience with a smirk that said everything. Backstage sources say Musk ripped off what remained of his mic wiring and stormed down the hallway, his footsteps echoing like a war drum. They'll regret this, he reportedly barked, voice ragged with fury. Aides rushed to calm him, whispering into earpieces, trying to block the cameras now swarming the back corridor. But it was too late. The damage was done, and the entire world was already watching. Clips showed Musk pointing a finger at a producer, teeth gritted, muttering something fierce. Another caught him pacing fast, hair disheveled, face red, eyes blazing. Someone tried to offer him water. He batted it away without even looking. I came to talk about ideas, he snapped, voice cracking. Instead, I get ambushed by a washed-up host with a smirk. The rawness of that moment bled into every corner of the internet within minutes. Meanwhile, Kimmel, still basking in the aftermath, turned to the camera and delivered one last sting. We had Musk. He flared up. I floored him. The line lit up social media. Applause thundered through the studio. Fans stood. Critics gasped. And the ratings? Sources say they spiked within seconds. A 65% jump before the segment even ended. Musk's walkout clip was everywhere. Looping on TikTok, dissected on YouTube, memed on Instagram. One video captioned Meltdown Musk crossed 1 million views within the first 10 minutes. Another titled Elon vs. The Late Night Assassin went viral by the hour. X was flooded with hashtags Musk meltdown, Kimmel strikes, Tesla tantrum. The footage of him slamming the desk, shouting at the audience, and storming off played on a constant loop, both a cautionary tale and a guilty pleasure. Supporters rallied, of course. One post read, "They set him up." Elon's a visionary, not a talk show puppet. Another said, "He's a fighter." They tried to humiliate him, but he stood his ground. But even those posts were buried under a tidal wave of memes and clips of Kimmel, grinning like a cat, that devoured the richest canary in the world. Inside the building, Musk's team scrambled to spin the narrative. Rumors swirled. A surprise announcement. A Tesla stunt. A SpaceX teaser. Maybe even a deep-dive interview to set the record straight. But insiders say he was still fuming, pacing in a corner backstage, fists clenched, eyes wild. "They think this is the end," he hissed. "It's not over." But Kimmel's team was already celebrating. The segment became the most talked-about moment in late-night history. Analysts called it a cultural lightning strike. One post from a TV critic read, "He didn't just outwit Elon, he dismantled the myth in real time." Still, the viewer split was as stark as the moment on stage. Some declared, "Kimmel crushed him, masterclass." Others argued, they cornered him. Not fair. News outlets ran side-by-side coverage. One headline read, "Elon Musk loses it on live TV." Another, "A provoked genius under fire." Debates raged on talk shows, Twitter threads, Reddit boards. Was it a PR disaster, an ambush, or just a man cracking under a spotlight he helped build? The long-term impact? Still unfolding. Tesla shares dipped slightly the next morning. SpaceX remained quiet. But murmurs among staff hinted at unease. "We're focused on missions, not drama," one insider texted. But the public image, that of an unstoppable tech force, had taken a visible hit. And it wasn't from a failed launch. It was from a late-night showdown. Kimmel, ever the showman, opened his next episode with a cold recap. Previously on Musk Unplugged, he rolled the walkout clip in slow motion, overlaid with dramatic music. The crowd screamed. His ratings climbed again. Critics called it the night late-night TV found its teeth again. Musk's silence spoke volumes. No apology, no tweet storm. Just one cryptic post hours later. "I rise higher." It gathered thousands of likes. And even more replies, "You fell hard." One meme showed a flaming Tesla drifting off a digital cliff, with Kimmel waving from the passenger seat. The internet had chosen chaos, and Musk was at the center of it. Behind the scenes, there were whispers of tension. One insider claimed Musk snapped at a top advisor, muttering, "They laughed, but they won't be laughing long." Another hinted a Tesla press conference had been delayed, citing unforeseen turbulence. Still others speculated that Musk was planning something big to reclaim the spotlight. A major reveal, a rebrand, maybe even a Kimmel-style counter-interview of his own. But the damage lingered, not just in headlines or hashtags, in perception. For the first time, the man hailed as a futuristic messiah looked rattled, exposed, human. The curtain pulled back, revealing not a calm genius, but a furious figure, cracking under the heat of the stage lights. Some saw it as overdue, others as undeserved, but nobody, absolutely nobody, looked away. By the end of the week, the show had been replayed, remixed, and repackaged so many times, it practically became its own mini-series. One clip, labeled "The Rise and Roar of Elon Musk," played like a tragic opera. Another simply read, "He broke." Kimmel's final jab before the credits rolled that night? Quiet, calm, colder than anything he'd said before. He looked into the camera and said, "Some people build rockets. Others build walls around the truth. You decide which one just launched." Then the screen cut to black. And just like that, the night that began as a simple interview ended in flames, fury, and viral infamy. A cultural detonation that left a trail of smoldering chaos behind. The titan had fallen. The comedian had stood tall. And the world watched, rewatched, and watched again.